Tonight, it was a case that couldn't be cracked for 3 years. Aruban police claimed they couldn't make a case against Judge's son, Joran van der Sloot, but tonight, a reporter does what the entire Aruban government couldn't or wouldn't do. Crack the case of 18-year-old Alabama beauty Natalee Holloway, missing from her high school senior trip to Aruba, 2005. Months of high-tech secret surveillance solves the mystery, and it proves what happened the night Natalee Holloway disappeared. Tonight, we have the video. But now, will Aruban courts fumble the case again?
The on-again, off-again investigation of the disappearance of an Alabama teenager in Aruba is on again. Investigators reopened the case because a suspect in the 2005 disappearance offered an account of her death on a secretly made tape. A businessman recorded the conversation with Joran van der Sloot with cameras hidden in his car. On the tape, aired on Dutch television, van der Sloot said he and Holloway had sex on an island beach early in the morning of May 30th, 2005, and that she died. He said he called a friend with a boat who then took her body and dumped it overboard, in his words, like an old rag.
And tonight, breaking news. NFL superstar, multi-millionaire quarterback Michael Vick, once the former NFL #1 draft pick, has nearly $20 million waiting for him in the bank. This after Vick connected to a vicious dogfight scheme stretching the entire eastern seaboard, much of it at Vick's super-secret compound, Richmond, Virginia. So why is Vick still sitting on millions?
Michael Vick's dogfighting operation has cost him a lot, his reputation, his career, his freedom, but he hasn't lost everything. Huge news from Michael Vick while he sits in jail on dogfighting charges. A federal judge has ruled he can keep nearly $20 million in bonus money he received from the Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons wanted the money back, saying Vick used some of it to finance his dogfighting ring, but the judge says that would violate the NFL's collective bargaining agreement because Vick got the bonuses for years he'd already played.
Good evening. I'm Nancy Grace. Natalee Holloway's case cracked. No thanks to the Aruban police.
A judge in Aruba has now reopened the case against Dutch student Joran van der Sloot in the death of Alabama teenager Natalee Holloway. There is a new tape that surfaced in which van der Sloot is heard saying that Holloway's body was dumped at sea. In fact, he describes her being on the beach and being unresponsive and said, quote, "I don't know what happened to that girl. We were on the beach. Suddenly she wasn't moving anymore. I tried to shake her. I was shaking the bee. I almost wanted to cry. Why does this have to happen to me?" Now, van der Sloot then says he called a friend who took her body out in a boat and dumped it in the ocean. On the tape, he also says, "I haven't lost a night's sleep over this." The tape was part of a sting operation by a Dutch crime show. Van der Sloot now says that he knew it was a sting and that he was lying to tell the informant what he wanted to hear.
Is the case finally cracked? According to this tape-recorded secret surveillance video and audio, the answer is finally yes. Now, it's back on the Aruban government. Will they take this man who, quote, says, "I felt nothing. I haven't lost a night's sleep over Natalee's death and dumping her body in the icy cold ocean"? Will he ever face a court of law? Let's find out exactly what happened to CNN senior producer Tracy Sabo. Tracy, explain.
Well, obviously, Nancy, these tapes that have just come out are certainly shocking to both the prosecution, who's been working on this case for about 2 to 3 years, and certainly to Beth Twitty, who was able to witness them herself. Patrick van der Eem is a 34-year-old Dutch national who says that he met Joran at a casino. He wasn't his friend prior, and he began this undercover assignment over a process of 6 months, then got to know Joran, and Joran says for the first time on these tapes that he actually had a hard time talking about it, but was telling his story and proceeded to give this story, which
had
we're
a
now
hard
hearing
time
about.
talking about it. Tracy, I know you've listened as much as I have. Take a listen to this.
Zeg je ook één ding. Ik heb het nog nooit met iemand gepraat. Het is ook niet makkelijk nu.
Ik weet het, Joran, weet je, maar...
Keer Patrick. Weet je veel dat ze allemaal deden? Ja, man. Ik wou bijna huilen van waarom moet ik dan mij zo gebeurd. Hij heeft naar mij gekeken en hij zei ja, ze heeft hem hier gekozen.
Hoe heeft hij dat gedaan dan?
Nou, we hebben gewoon boven haar gestaan en gekeken. Ja, het was niet goed.
Nee, natuurlijk was het niet goed. Dat begrijp ik ook wel dat het niet goed is. Als ik ook in coma raak, hè?
Ja.
Dat kan ook, hè?
Ik had erbij. Ik had er helemaal geen slecht gevoel bij. Ik heb er geen nacht slaap over verloren. Ja, iemand die gewoon echt een goede vriend van ons. Ja, en ik sprak met hem en ik zeg hem van ik heb echt, er is echt iets gebeurd. Ja. En dus hebben we gewoon aangenomen naar die boot.
Getild.
Ja, met z'n tweetjes even snel. En hij
niemand heeft je gezien toen ook?
That is from ABC's Good Morning America, and that's not all. Take a look at some of what he said as we have transcribed. All of a sudden, what she did was like in a movie. She was shaking. It was awful. I prodded her. There was nothing. He went out to sea, and then he threw her out like an old rag. Repeat, like an old rag. He goes on to say, Patrick, I had absolutely no bad feelings about it. I have not lost one night of sleep over it. Let's go on. Let's go on to the next screen. I tried to shake her. I was shaking the bitch. He calls the dead girl a bitch. I was shaking the bitch. I was like, what's wrong with you, man? I was almost crying. Why does this have to happen to me? And I'm cutting out the curse words. Why does this have to happen to me? I want to go out to CNN correspondent joining us from the Netherlands, Frederik Pleitgen. Frederik, thank you for being with us. How did this whole thing come about?
Well, basically what happened is that this investigative journalist, Peter de Vries, started making a documentary about this case, and he got Van der Eem to befriend Van der Sloot. And what happened was, and you can see this in the documentary as it goes on, is that this is a very, very long process where in the beginning they talk about completely random things, and then all of a sudden Van der Sloot starts opening up more and more, starts talking about the case, and starts talking about his role in all of this. And one thing that I think has shocked so many people that have been seeing this is the way that he does talk about it, the way that he says that basically the Aruban police were stupid, that he was leading them around, that he was on top of this thing the whole time, that he knew what he was doing, and that he believes they have nothing against him. So basically, it seems as though one of the reasons he started opening up to Van der Eem was that he was feeling very, very secure. He said that right now he's at a stage where he could go cash in on this because he felt so safe from prosecution, Nancy.
Wait a minute. Who could cash in? I want to make sure I heard you correctly, Frederik Pleitgen. Who could cash in?
That's exactly what he said. I mean, those were his exact words in that documentary. He was saying that he had been through all this. He had been to court several times, and now it was his turn to exploit the situation, Nancy.
Let's take a look at more of what Jorn van der Sloot, protected so far by his daddy, the judge there in Aruba. He's even left the Aruban island and gone on to college in the Netherlands. It goes on. How did you know for sure she was dead? Because you can't, people can go into a coma. Well, I wasn't positive. He's not positive she's dead, but arranges to have her body thrown into the ocean a mile away from shore. It goes on. It goes on. And let me warn you, it doesn't get any better. Jorn van der Sloot, after the second week, I was quiet. I didn't tell the police anything. But until now, you say that you what? They fetched you, the police? Well, that's what happened in the case. After I didn't make any more statements, I said it was in my best interest to keep my mouth shut after that. He goes on to mock the police. His father, the judge, protecting him the entire time, he mocks police in the secretly taped video and audio.